Hey, good evening traders. This is Krishna Joshi here again with 7 Points Capital. I'm going to bring you today's trader takeaways. It's my second day in a row and I'm really excited to bring you a few interesting trader takeaways. Fantastic day for me today. Love trading Cisco, a couple of good earning names, a lot of mid-cap ones that we talked about yesterday, Groupon day 2. So I was really excited coming in. And we had some internet glitch in the morning right around 9:30, which is what so I had to tell myself just relax, take it easy, and just trade what you can see. Like, don't let that come in the way, don't let that like look at things differently. So looking at spies again, fantastic strong day. I'll take you, this is the daily on spies. We talked about it, this V bottom yesterday. I was actually looking at a 60-minute, which looked crazy V bottom. Look at that, everything's going well, nice and dandy. 287 on spies, and then boom boom boom, recovers, tries to pull back, and then makes low by a little bit and then right back up. So you can, I think you can expect, like, this is that strong kind of market. That 60-minute is an amazing V bottom, as you can see. And guess what, today intraday was nothing different. Like, markets gapped up pre-market, spies up probably about 2 points or so, and right at the open just sells off. Here you can see a little bit of gap in my charts. This is where we had some internet issues, then my trading platform had some issues, but again, overall the idea was to keep it small, stay focused, and do not let that impact you in any way, or don't try to make up for a missed few minutes or the missed open. And which is what I thought. I was taking good setups all throughout the day. And we'll jump right into this is S&P 500 UVXY, as you would expect it to go down, make newer lows on the day, but here you can see UVXY did not keep selling off all day. This is when the spice fell off intraday, the V bottom, and then UVXY did not actually sell off for the rest of the day. So that's an interesting divergence that I'm noticing there. And looking at going into stock specific action, Cisco had earnings, big gap up on earnings. That's a huge gap, like good 6-7% for a large cap company like this. I was actually looking at it after hours yesterday, right around here. Had a small feeler short position, covered, got long a little bit, just to get an idea for what Cisco wants to do after hours. There's decent amount of liquidity, reserved buy and sell orders. So it was pretty interesting, and I was expecting it to open right around this area, which was 44.50, but intraday, like pre-market, it was trading right above 45, and right at the open, stock just crashed, and it crashed to 43.50. And I did not actually have a lot of short right at the open. We had some issues. So I remember getting involved right around this one, the 44 area. Fantastic short opportunity, because every time it tried to buy massive quantities at 44 level, and it would keep bouncing back down. So it would go down to 96, 97, right back up. You can see that in these tails. It would keep going back. It would keep going back to 44, 44.01, as you can see the high on this one, and which is what it gave a really amazing risk reward setup. And that way it gave me a chance to really size in. I wasn't involved right away. I gave it a few bars, put on a feeler position, and then I knew this really wanted to go down, and this was a really good short. I was trading it with the guys around who sit around me. We all had a great position, great trade in this one. I did not hold it through the pullback. I remember taking it in the 60s, mid 60s, and low 60s, I think. So which is why it ended up being a good trade, like good 40 cent on it by risking about 5 to 7 cents. So this is what I wanted to look at it all day. And then guess what, it kept coming back to the 44 area, the same level from morning. It kept coming back to it. It went above, came back, and this was a good long opportunity for me. It was more like a quick scalp, I feel. And I wasn't early again on this one. The best part about this was I had a good feel for the stock. I knew that spies right around here were strong. They wanted to push higher, so we look at around 230 timestamp on SPY. Oops. Yep, there we go. So at 2:30, right around there, SPY was trying to break through the. It was already higher compared relative strength compared to Cisco, but it was inching much higher. So Cisco actually did not really do what it was doing early in the day. It wouldn't go down to 91, 92 and come right back up. Instead, it was holding in a couple of cents, which was the best part about this. So it gave me again a good risk reward setup. Got longs the 98s, 99s, and if you try to sell it, I'm sure you would have a tough time covering out your short positions if someone was going against this. Also, it gave me an idea that it did actually go through it once and came back to retest the 90s, and it never really went back down. So second good trade in it, and there was one short trade right around 44.20. So 3 good trades in Cisco. The last one right around the close after the imbalances come out. So this was a good trade right around here in between 345 and 350. So Cisco overall a good trading day. SPWR, SunPower, solar company. I think they had poor set of numbers. They're having some management issues. CEO, CFO. They're trying to switch it up. So I had a great short opportunity here right around 675, 76. So right around here, as you can see, there was a good short opportunity, and I got short against the previous high, which was like 680. So I was risking about 3 to 4 cents, and I had the offer was just chasing it down. It was down 10%, so which is again SSR, short seller restriction, and then the stock just kept collapsing. So the offer was chasing it down. It was an easy hold. No real shakeout, no pullbacks at all in this. In fact, it would pull back a couple of cents and the offer would be still there, and you would just chase it down. So this was a good 20 cent right around the morning before I want to be done like around 11 o'clock. The first 60 minutes, 90 minutes is where I'm looking for the massive moves, and it did give me a really good move. So this was the first short setup. Excellent trade, worked out like 5-to-1 risk reward setup. And then I wanted to look at it on the long side, especially when I wasn't in it on the long side at all. It comes back, it sets up again really nice, and I'm looking at a good risk reward setup again. So I'm looking at 675, 676 area, which is where I got short in the morning, and it gave a good. The VWAP buyer was persistently buying the New Yorks. He was buying different routes, not a lot of dark pools. So I actually had to scale into my position gradually. 676, 78, I got all of those, and then it was an easy hold for most part. I did get out a little early. I think I got out in the late 80s, right around here. Probably felt nervous about it. I felt like it could do one of those big sharp drops, which did not happen. It kept going higher, but I definitely missed this move. This ended up being a good trade overall. And the best part about this was when I was sizing in the position, I was always buying at a higher price. So I knew that there was someone buying after I was buying. So if I was taking 77 offer and I wasn't getting my full size, so I had to look at buying or adding 78s, and that it would be wiped out right away. So this was a pretty easy trade. So first short setup worked pretty well. Long setup, again a tight risk reward setup, and I think it was 707, 708 area. I think it shook me out on the short side. I did get short right around here, comes right back up and sets again. And again, this was again testing waters whether the buyer was gone, but he was not. I only had 1,000 shares or so, but it took me about 4 or 5 cents to cover. And then once it set up again the same easy long setup. So second best stock of my day after Cisco. And let's move on to the second category, which is bad trade. Bad stock for the day was AMAG. They had positive FDA news. They're working in collaboration with another company, and the stock is beaten down. If you want to look at the daily, you can see the stocks collapsed from mid 30s to like the low 10s, and the stock really gapped up. So it definitely has a high short float, and today it was definitely very strong. This was my first trade where I wanted to test it on the short side. Ended up being a scratch trade for me. It gapped up really big, had the morning wash, rallied all the way, and then I looked for a good wedge breakdown. that did not fall apart, did not work pretty well. So this was a scratch trade in the beginning, and then I was looking at it on the long side. But again, it was tough for me to capture the move and actually have realized gains in it. I had a lot of unrealized winners, but while I'd look to add more towards it, like if I'm trying to add more on the breakout and it comes back, and then I'm waiting, I'm moving my stop a little closer and probably adding on the break of 1850, it would come all the way back up. So I had a couple of scratch trades in this one, even though I had unrealized gains for more than 1.5 hour, 2 hour. I was in the money a little bit in this one, but the stock was strong all day. It did not give up. The buyer was persistent. The buying on the offer wasn't as clear, but if you got short, he would just push it right back up. So if you got short on one of these ones, he would just it was just clipping the 18 level consistently. So it would go back down, come back to the 18 level like a magnet. So tough stock for me on the day. One of my biggest, I think my biggest losing position of the day. Not down a lot in this one, but again, I was down and it ended up being a bad stock because I didn't have a really good feel for it. And the third category, which is I should have done much better, is SolarEdge. Again, a solar company similar to SPWR that we saw, but it's much smaller in size. It's a mid-cap stock. It is a really trendy stock on the daily, as you can see, and didn't really give up much on the market sell-off. And today it had just fantastic earnings. The stock was strong all day. So once it gapped up, I asked for a borrow. We got a quick borrow. I tried to short these ones, and that did not go pretty well. So I was in the money a little bit, shorted around the 44.30 area. I was in the money for about 40-50 cents. Wasn't looking to take it. Instead, I was looking to add more on the pullback. That did not happen. So I ended up losing a little bit on that. This is a tick pilot stock, so 5 cent spread on it. Nickel stocks, and as you can see, it was clipping this 45 area. So retest, breaks, second retest, third, fourth. So it kept trying to retest this. But an interesting thing that I noticed around here was that every time it would sell off, it would bounce off the 15. So this is 44.15. This is 44.15, 44.15. So every time you saw a 15 bid, he would just wipe off the offer and the next few offers as well. So he would wipe 44.20, 25.30, and he would just push it right back up. So this is when it set up again. This is where I actually, instead of looking to trying to short it, the moment it sold off, I tried to buy some 44.30s, 35s. Not a huge position, but a small position, and that was the time when it actually wanted to break through the 45s. We had seen multiple attempts trying to break it, did not really go well, and right there. So this was a good trade in the end, but the problem again never really gave me an opportunity to add. My stop loss was clear, defined. I was looking at, I knew that if it actually broke down, I wasn't going to get 44.10s. So I was giving it more room and keeping that into consideration, and seeing how yesterday went, I wanted to give it more room, not be a huge position in it. And I thought once it breaks through, comes back to 45 after a few bars, instead of just coming back in 1 wick. These weren't really easy to capture, so I wasn't looking to buy on these flash downs. In fact, I was just seeing how the price and the volume panned out. So never really got a chance to add. Worked out, was a good trade, was a good setup, because I was watching it all day. It was a very patient setup for me, but as you can see, it kept holding the VWAP. There's a definite buyer in it, and this was it, like right around midday. Again, if you notice, 2:30 on the clock, which is when spies were trying to break higher, trying to break it through the 272 on SPY. So fantastic day overall. Just one mention, Groupon, which was day 2, which was SSR yesterday on earnings, but just sideways. But I'm still looking at key levels, because 53 did not break, which was the lows yesterday. Today it was just holding even in a tighter range. So I'm definitely expecting a lot more move. I think we should, it's an inside bar, and I think we should see a move on day 3 and day 4. And it is going to, the buyer is still persistent. He wouldn't let it flip down right around here. The buyer was huge, massive block prints. So definitely this is going to be on my watch list for tomorrow and for the next week, and I expect a bigger move coming soon. As you can see on the daily, Groupon has an inside day looking for, it's definitely a lot of support on the downside. 450 hasn't really touched that. 453, 52 yesterday. I'm gonna definitely look at it. Anyways, thanks again for watching, guys, and happy Thursday. And keep watching, keep liking, subscribing, and share with your friends. And thanks again for the trader takeaways.